think I've got one, Lou.
No, still the ceiling.
Oh, you've ruined it. Hi folks, welcome back to JS at WeBuyFishingTackle.com. Now listen guys, you Yorkshiremen, do you like this? It's quite nice this, isn't it? I think it's slightly high, it should be slightly low, but we tried it early but it just looked really wrong. We've advertised that because I'm buying Penn Reels now, the big internationals, and I like them, I thought, well, I'll ask a couple of people and maybe they have some reels. The week after I ask, upturn all of these Alcock's Commodores and similar reels. And then last week, got a call from a chap in Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, saying he's got a bit of fly tackle for sale on a couple of sea reels. I thought that's nice. So when we got there, he pulls out this, which is a Shakespeare 350, which is nice. That's kind of a standard inshore reel that I would have used years ago when I ran a sea fishing club in the Gantocks. Now the Gantocks is an area up in Scotland. It's not a medical term, all right? So I've been fishing with that inshore for little cod and stuff, but he brings out this from South Yorkshire. Now, unless I've got it wrong, this is not a dry fly reel. However, when I thought about it, South Yorkshire is not far from East Yorkshire, which isn't far from the coast, which isn't far from Whitby, Scarborough, and all of the big game gear. So he pulls out this wonderful Penn Senator 12-0, which is a chunk of a reel. If you compare the two together, you know, this holds a lot of line, or a lot of backing, as somebody once said. Now, Penn Company was formed in 1932. A chap called Otto Hens. He came in from Germany in 1925, and he worked for Ocean City Reels. However, at some point during his apprenticeship or his term with Ocean City, I'll take this off, his term with Ocean City, he decided that he would start his own company, and he opened Penn Fishing Tackle Reel Company in 1932. He initially started selling the reels as model with alphabetical numbers, so it was Model K, Model D, and then changed the names later on to names that we know as famous, the Penn Long Beach, the Penn Squidder, you name it, eventually the Senator, and in the 80s the Penn International, the Gold Series, which today are still outstanding in their class. They're absolutely amazing. So we bought this, and then he said, oh, I've got a couple of reels, a couple of rods. I'm getting it all wrong this morning, aren't I? I shouldn't have had 16 Guinness for breakfast. He pulls out this, which is called the Tough Freddy. It's Australian, of course it's Australian. Who else would call a rod a Tough Freddy? It's a fabulous looking thing. It weighs virtually nothing. I think, I was having a muck about earlier with the roof, it's probably a 50, might even be an 80-pound fast taper rod. Neither of us any idea what it's worth, but after a Yorkshireman Scottish haggle, we bought the rod because it kind of goes with the reel. I thought, well, that's nice. Somebody would buy that today to fish. However, he then pulls out this monster. This is the Hardy, the saltwater 80-pound hollow fiberglass built in a Fiberlite range of glass blanks. This weighs a ton. Compared to that, this weighs about 4 times. And if I try and bend this one, that's definitely 50 pound. This is definitely 80-pound class rod. This came bolted to this when I bought it. No wonder you need this to put it all together. The whole thing must weigh about 30 kilograms. Fabulous rod. This was only made for about 10 years, 70 to 80s. Detachable butt on here with a button that comes off, so it either sits in the cup. Luke, you need help here. It either sits in the cup of the, I'm going to knock off the Rapala. It sits in a cup like so, or if you have a bar across there called a gimbal bar, you unscrew the button on the rod, it's going to slot and it sits in. And what that does, that stops the rings from turning side by side when you're fighting a big fish. So if your name is Roger and you had a 400-pound tuna fish on, like that, for 4 hours, you would appreciate the fact you're wearing a butt pad and the correct reel to harness rod kit up. I'm loving the big game gear. The bad news is I don't seem to want to sell any of it. So all that's happening is this room, which used to have a little bit of everything in it, is fast to becoming, or quickly becoming, a big game sanctuary. But I've always got room for more of these because I've got more rooms. So if any, you get anything nice like this in big sizes, probably 10 or 12, 14, 16, 18, upwards of senators. That's a 16 or, which even by this term dwarfs this one. Anything like that in lovely condition. If they're all rusty, battered and horrible, sadly they're not for me. Great fishing reels, but they're not for me. So fishing gear I'm after. I even came with a little French spoon. Crazy, huh? Of course it's French because it's rusted. 150 it says on it. I don't know if that's the grams or how much it cost, but that's a curious thing. So I'm going to hang that on Tifa Tarpon up there and make it look like he's bitten it. Fishing gear, WeBuyFishingTackle.com buys everything. So we can buy antique, modern, vintage, classic. We can buy sea fishing, big game fishing. We can do fly fishing, like so. You name it, coast fishing, we're interested in buy it. Quality and condition are important. If it's snapped, broken or altered, it's not so good news. If it's in nice condition, then either send us an email to the john@webuyfishingtackle.com address on the website, or give me a phone call on 07548 871 985. And funnily enough, let's talk tackle. See you later.